Call to order the Township of Morris Board of Adjustment regular meeting for March 23rd, 2026. A legal notice required in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act has been satisfied, and a statement certifying the same will be executed. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Goldberg.
Here.
Mr. Trachtenberg.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here.
Mr. Schuster.
Here.
Mr. Benoit.
Here.
Mr. Kramer.
Here.
Ms. Simmons.
Here.
We have our new board member that will be joining us tonight, Mr. Evangel, and Mr. Woodford,
Here. And
our professional expert, our engineer consultant, Mr. Vooch.
first order of business would be swearing in our new alternate.
Yes. Chris, if you would come up, please. Swear you in. Would you raise your right hand, repeat after me, please? I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and I will bear faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people. So help me God. Also, I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of the Board of Adjustment according to the best of my ability. Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
All right. Okay. Next matter will be resolution for BA 23-25. Mr. Oler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a memorializing resolution with respect to the application filed by Sean and Nicole Freeman for property at 15 Nichols Road. The applicants applied for permission to modify an existing non-conforming dwelling by constructing a one-story addition over an existing single-story, requiring variance relief for front yard setback of 52.8 feet where 60 feet is required, and also to expand a non-conforming structure. That application was conditionally granted by the board with our standard conditions.
Thank you. Board members, any comments on the resolution? Any objections? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that.
Have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Kopak, roll call, please.
Mr. Goldberg.
Yes.
Mr. Trachtenberg.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Schuster.
Yes.
Mr. Benoit.
Yes.
Mr. Kramer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Me too.
And Mr. Woodford.
Yes.
Apologies.
Okay. Next, we'll go to the public hearings. The first public hearing is BA-24-25 for Block 6004, Lot 3, 9 Norwood Court in the RA 25 zone, Section C. Andrew and Kelly Gibbons. That matter has been put off until approximately the end of July. Is that correct, Mr. Oler?
Yes, the applicant's redoing their plans. We do not have a new date yet. So once we have new plans, a new date will be assigned, and the applicant will need to renotice.
Right. Do we have an extension through the end of August? Is
Through
that
August.
correct? All right. So anybody here on that application, that will not be heard tonight. Next, we go to BA-26-25, 286 Mendham Road.
The big fat plans.
The applicant proposes construction of a one-story addition at the right side of the existing house and a covered portion addition at the rear of the house with a pre-existing front yard setback of 19 feet where 100 feet is required.
so would you both please stand? You're both going to testify, I gather? Yep, please stand, raise your right hands. Joe? Yes. Everyone raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? And my left to right, would you all state your names for the record, please?
I'm Daniel Ensign, E-N-C-I-N. Howard Messer. Board of Trustees.
Thank you.
Okay, who's going to be testifying first?
So this is a new experience for me, so if I mistake something, I apologize. It's not intentional.
Mr. Messer, can you turn the microphone on? There's a button. Perfect. Thank you. It
No,
turns
the
green.
green light will be on.
It was green.
Yep,
Hey,
you
good.
got it.
So several years ago, I purchased a house at 286 Mendon Road. And I put it in my son's name. Various estate purposes. And we purchased the house, just the smaller of the two houses in that. There's 284, which is in the back of the large house.
Right.
And in the front there is a carriage house, 286. So when I purchased it, I realized there was significant work that had to be done because it had not been lived in for several years. So we ended up putting in a new septic system, putting a new electric system, putting in a new air conditioning system, redoing all the walls, etc. And did everything according to the code and permits, and worked closely with your construction department to make sure that everything was done properly and there were no shortcuts taken. Then basically decided the house really should be a little bigger to make it more current. Kitchen had to be redone. And probably add a bedroom section to make it more current. And I asked the partner how much is involved in this, where do I start? And the first thing I got started with the planning board, the board adjustment. I can tell you now that the first letter you're going to get is rejection because you're going to need a variance. So, well, why don't we just skip that part and go right to the meat, because you know you have to do it this way. So, I mean, this is not something you can just handwrite on a piece of paper. You have to go and do it properly, I think. So I met the architect here in Mendon. He came over to the house, walked the property, looked at the house, took all the measurements, ran inside, and he encountered a bear his first visit. And we discussed what we'd like to do. And we worked very closely for several months to get it done. And then proceeded to make the appropriate filings with the county.
Okay.
That's really where we are. And there's no way to, and the architect himself met better than me, there's no way to arrange that addition to make it. So instead of feeling so close to an owner as a tenant, and also fit within the requirements of the law.
Okay. Anything else? We're going to pass it on to the architect.
Yeah, he's here.
Yep. Board members, any questions? Any members of the public wish to ask a question of this applicant? Seeing none, hearing none, close the public portion. You're up.
So before you do that, are you testifying as an architect?
I am, yes.
Would you then describe, just go tell the board about your professional background, please, and educational background?
I have a professional Bachelor of Architecture degree from New Jersey Institute of Technology. I've been a licensed architect since 2007. I'm the principal and owner of Menon Design Architects. I'm presenting in front of this board and all the adjacent municipalities.
And your license is in New Jersey,
It is.
and it's current?
It is.
Thank you.
The property is 286 Mendham Road. It's located in the OSGU zone, R130 zoning requirements. The house was constructed approximately 1900. So it's an old carriage house. It's a somewhat historic structure. It has some nice old stone and foundation materials. It is constructed kind of high up on the hill. The road 24 is down below, you can see running along, and everything on these drawings is consistent with what's in the application package, no changes or revisions. So as a result of the zone that it's in, and being an old structure that predates the zoning, the current edge of the house and portion that is there is 19 feet off the property line. And in the zone, the required setbacks are 100 feet. So looking at the site plan, you can see the building envelope and all of the related setbacks coming into this kind of central area. The entire house fits within the required setback. So any work proposed on the house to any degree will require this front yard setback variance. Looking at what we have, the goal was to add some additional living space to the house, constructing a one-story addition onto the house, as well as a covered entry porch on the rear side, which is designated the way you enter the property, and you enter the driveway, you actually enter from the rear. And so the proposed shape and size of the addition are limited just to the size that's needed in order to gain additional and living space. And the shape of the addition, the way that it's set back, is done specifically so we do not extend or intensify the existing non-conforming condition of the setback. The current house is at 19 feet off the property line, and the jogs and angles that are proposed here with the new addition also place that at its closest point to 19 feet from that line. So we're not proposing to go any closer to the front yard or to the front property line. Based on, looking at this, the rest of the house, again, we conform with rear and side yard setbacks, but the entire house and the footprint of the house sit within that required front yard. There are also significant wet areas in the back here. There is a wetland delineation, and as part of the work, we'd like to be going for and are working with John Peel to looking at
John Peel being?
John Peel being the environmental consultant, looking at the requirements for a standard general permit for doing any kind of disturbance within a general permit for disturbance within a wetland transition area. And that, under that permit, the maximum disturbance that's allowed is 750 square feet of overall soil disturbance. And this project that was proposed here is significantly less than that. Sheet 2 are the existing and proposed floor plans. Essentially, the changes to the house involve. Currently, there are 3 rather small bedrooms. Taking the existing dining room space, converting one of those to be a larger primary bedroom suite, leaving the other 2 bedrooms, so it still remains a 3-bedroom house, but it getting a larger primary bedroom. And then in the living space of the house, the proposed addition is enclosing and building within an existing covered porch, and then constructing an addition which essentially allows for a kitchen space, so there can be a reasonable living area for current living standards, with kitchen, dining area, and a living room with a small office and powder room off to the side of that. So still relatively small, consistent with the scale of the house. None of the rooms that are being proposed are very large, but just what's necessary in order to kind of have those necessary living spaces. Sheet A3 is the lower level plan. The Waiters House, you can see from the photos that are attached in the application. The house sits, the main level of the house, it's essentially a one-story house on the side that faces toward Route 24. The grade is very high, the house sits up high, and it's kind of a low-slung house, and you only see the one story exposed. As you move towards the back of the house and further into the property, the grade drops and it has a daylight basement or exposed lower level in the back. That's where the proposed covered entry porch is, because that's when you pull into the property, into the driveway, that's the level at which you're at, and you have to enter into the house and then move upward from that into the main level of the living space of the house. So there's basement space proposed as the foundation for that addition, and then the existing portions within the house are proposed to be renovated to create an entranceway and mudroom and a reasonable staircase and access up into that main living area from that lower level. So as you come around the rear and you approach the house, we have the current body of the house. The grade steps up significantly along the one side and going up to kind of the main grade around. This is the kind of existing face of the house. There are some window openings and other things here. Proposed door opening where a window was, and then this entry porch runs with the style and character of the house with the hipped roof and materials, either stand seam or copper metal roof, and columns that are detailed and consistent with the character and the age of the house. So it looks like an original portion of the house as opposed to something that's been added onto it. And then the proposed addition, when you're looking from, let's call it the front, it doesn't really present as a front, and you can't see it from the street because of how high it is above Route 24, and it's also concealed within trees. It's heavily wooded along that area. So we have the front, which somewhat appears like the back, and then the existing porch element, which is being infilled, the first portion of addition, which is the office. And then we've created a piece here with a slightly differing roof line to look a little bit more like you would see with an accessory structure or something, not creating, we don't want to take and change the scale of the building. We're trying to create something that's consistent with that smaller scale and the lower roof lines. So we gave this kind of its own separate roof line piece, but the same shingled, painted shingle material, asphalt roofing shingles that are all consistent with and blending with the character of the existing house.
Okay, thank you. There's a series of photographs in your packet. Could you go over those and explain them to us?
And I'm not going to mark these since they're part of the package. Right. Right, okay.
The first image is essentially the front side of the house. So where you can see here, where as the grade comes up, it's really kind of a single story appearance of house. And this level of ground here sits well over a story above Route 24 down below. So this face sits behind a heavy tree line and it's not really visible from the road. The second image is stepping further back, so you kind of see that whole front face of the house, as well as the left side of the house. And that left side is currently where the grade drops down, and you see some carriage house doors there. This is an old carriage house. That is the garage entrance to the house. There's no proposed changes anywhere along this front left corner or along the left side of the house. Third image is a head-on, a full-on view of that left side with the carriage doors going into the garage down below. Fourth image is now going around what is technically the rear of the house, but is what presents as the front as you come around and park in that driveway. It has a nice, beautiful old lower stone foundation with some doors and large window openings in it. And the proposed covered entry porch that's being proposed, the roof would go along here, leaving the stone exposed, and then putting the porch column sitting in front of that. So you enter kind of into that portion up against the stone base of the house. This image is continuing around the house in that same direction. This is a head-on view of that rear elevation. The door that is currently shown on the left, that door will remain, but the secondary, the window that's directly next to it, the bottom of that stone will be removed, and that will actually become the main entry door into the mudroom space down below. Sixth image is is the right side elevation of the house. This is where along the side there's a large stone retaining wall. The grade steps up here and it goes back to being kind of a single story along that side. And this is the existing covered porch. This is the location of the proposed addition. This porch being filled in, the smaller piece of addition going in this location, and then the somewhat more detached looking piece of the addition with the kitchen coming out along this right side, blending into the existing roof lines. But again, you can see from the heavy tree line that kind of wraps around that bend. This raised area is not visible from down at Route 24.
Thank you. Board members, any questions?
I just have one question.
Sure.
There's a stone ice house depicted on the drawings.
Mhm.
That wasn't, it almost looks like it's attached to the structure itself.
Contiguous.
The stone ice house piece is subgrade. It's underground. So
Oh.
that last photo we looked at,
Okay,
where the ground comes up high, and I'm talking about the retaining wall, that, all of this, when you stand up here, it's just a patio. There's nothing there. And that railing that you see in that image is the edge of that.
Gotcha.
You can see there's a small door, and it's built into the stone of that retaining wall, and it's set into the side of the grate there. So it's not visible as a structure up above.
okay, thank you for clarifying.
Any other questions by board members? Any members of the public with any questions of this witness? Seeing none, hearing none, close the public portion. Any closing comments?
Just that the existing home predates any zoning regulations. It's a beautiful old house that was kind of a high level of disrepair after not being occupied for many years. So it's a great structure. It has good old materials to it, and that the proposed work that's being done here will make it viable to be used in how it was meant to be used for this, and that if there's really anything that would be done to this or any kind of expansion to gain additional living space would require the same front yard setback variance, and that there really are no detriments to what's being proposed, and that the benefits of bringing this up to a more current and usable living standard, the benefits of that far outweigh any detriments.
Thank you. Yes, Joe.
Point of clarification for the board. There's discussion regarding environmental concerns, constraints on the site, right? GeoWeb, DEP's GeoWeb database,
Right,
show any wetlands on the subject property. It does show them across the street within the Whippany River floodplain. The floodplain of the Whippany River is across the street, is not on the subject property for the current maps. But the water by small pond area that's on the property is connected to the Whippany River as part of a tributary that comes across. So we would expect that there's riparian on the property, and the improvements that they're showing to the home are relatively modest in nature. From DEP's perspective, those would be most likely under permit by rule number 10, which authorizes general construction activities, small additions, and work outside the flood hazard area and inside the riparian when working on a single home.
okay,
I would expect that they won't need a DEP permit for anything, but rather tracking permit by rule, which is basically as of right within.
So they would have to submit something to DEP saying, here's what we want to do, and they'll write back and say, you're good to go?
Actually less, basically by permit by rule, they track that their work is within the confines of permit by rule number 10.
Okay,
And then they would keep that in their record keeping and provide essentially a copy to us as part of the prior approvals to get the construction permit.
okay. Do we have to include that in any resolution, or?
We'll track it in our office, but I just wanted the board to understand there wouldn't be a specific outside agency permit they need to obtain.
Okay, great, thank you. Do you concur? Yes? Okay. Well, to me, this is pretty much an open and shut case. You can't do anything on this property without a variance. The house is very small, it needs a little modernization, a little expansion, and you've designed it so it has a minimum impact on the surrounding area. I'd be all in favor of approving this application. Anybody else have any comments? If not, I'll entertain a
I'll
motion.
just comment that you came no closer to the road.
Right,
Yes, it's very close to the road, but no closer, and you stepped it so that it didn't come any closer.
do I have a motion on this application?
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chair, that we approve this application based on its merit.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Goldberg,
Yes.
Mr. Trachtenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster.
Yes.
Mr. Benoit,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer,
Yes.
Mr. Woodford.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I will have a resolution for you at the next meeting. Okay?
Thank you.
The next, we're going to skip to David, Glenn David, right?
Yeah.
We're going to skip ahead to BA-27-25, Block 8901, Lot 5, 9 Westminster Place, in the RA 35 zone, Section C, variance. Mr. David? Applicant proposes to build a second-story addition, side garage addition, rear addition, and deck addition, where the variance request is for a pre-existing side yard setback of 18.96 feet where 30 feet is required, to reduce the combined side yard setback to 66.67 feet where 75 feet is required, and a pre-existing front yard setback of 52.81 feet where 75 feet is required. Can I have your appearances, please?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for hearing us. My name is Glenn David. I live in 3 Spring Hill Lane in Morristown. As you mentioned, I'm planning on moving to 9 Westminster after the renovations, and my engineer and architect will do most of the talking.
Okay.
Okay, so would you please stand and raise your right hands? Joe as well, please. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? And your names for the record, please.
Glenn David?
Stephen L. Kestner, STEVEN, KOESTNER, 61 Hudson Street, Hackensack, New Jersey, a professional engineer and land surveyor, licensed as a land surveyor since 1983.
We're going to get to that. We'll get there. And just for the record, thank you. Okay, who's first? All right, now we're going to get to that. There you go. Again, your background, please. Yes.
Professional engineer and land surveyor, a land surveyor since 1983, and a professional engineer since 1988, graduate of Clarkson College of Technology in 1974 in civil and environmental engineering. Been practicing ever since with Kestner Associates based in Hackensack. Testified before many boards, Bergen, Hudson, Essex, Passaic counties.
And your license is current
It is.
in New Jersey.
It is in New Jersey, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Property is known as 9 Westminster Place, in Morris Township, located at the end of Westminster Place, about 440 feet east of Overlook Road. It has a frontage of 152 feet, a depth of 170 feet. Its lot area is 26,450 square feet. The proposal meets most of the requirements. We have the height of the building will conform at 38 feet is permitted, 35 other feet is permitted, we're at 33 and a half. With impervious coverage allowed at 35%, we're at 21.71. Building coverage at 50%, we're at 12.05%, even though the lot technically is undersized in this zone. 35,000 square feet is required. The pre-existing condition, we're at 26,450 square feet. We are asking for 3 variances as enumerated on the agenda. The pre-existing side yard variance, that is on the western side of the property, that will not change. It exists at 18.96 feet, and that will remain. Combined variance, side yard, north of that, east and west, 75 feet is required. We'll have 66.67 with the addition of the garage on the easterly side. And there's a pre-existing front yard setback where 75 feet is required. The existing house, 52.81 feet, and that will not change. I should mention the property is surrounded by the lands of Loyola House of Retreats, both on the easterly side and on the northerly side as well. And my feeling is that these variants could be granted, being that it is mostly open space to the north and to the east. We do have a slight increase in drainage, I'll say. When we address that, let me just say briefly though, that the increase is small because presently the lot slopes from the street towards the rear. It drops about 18 feet from south to north. And presently the driveway is on the easterly side and it wraps around the rear of the house and garages below. So with this addition and garage placed on the side, the garage will be placed about half a story below the first floor, which will be much more accessible for the future residents of the property, of the home. The driveway will be removed in the back that it looked around. So there's less lot coverage there. We're going to add some lot coverage on the side to access the new garage. All in all, the increase is rather slight in runoff. 24 cubic feet on the 10-minute, 25-year storm, and 72 cubic feet on the 60-minute, 25-year storm. And we've addressed that with the addition of 2 dry wells in the rear of the house to capture the runoff from the roof. And we've also added a dry well at the base of the driveway to capture the runoff from that driveway coming down towards the back of the property. All in all, we're capturing, we have a total capacity of 635 cubic feet for the seepage pits for the home and 317 feet for the seepage pit for the driveway. And they will more than cover any increase in runoff. As I said, it's only about 60-some cubic feet, or 72 cubic feet increase in runoff. So we've more than captured that increase in runoff with the installation of these driveways. So there's some slight grade change as the contours indicate, and that's mostly in the area of the driveway. And I think I've covered about it. We have some construction details, but they might be self-explanatory.
Okay.
Welcome any questions.
Board members, any questions? Any members of the public with any questions of this witness? Seeing none, hearing none, close the public portion. Next witness.
Yes, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Your name, please?
Joseph
Donato, D-O-N-A-T-O, located at 14 Route 4 West, River Edge, New Jersey.
And Mr. Donato, would you just give the board the pleasure of knowing your background, please?
Absolutely. I hold a Bachelor of Architecture from New York Institute of Technology, graduated in 1985. Received my license to practice architecture in New Jersey in 1992. And I've held my own practice since 1995 throughout New Jersey. I'm also a planning board member for 10 years in our combined zoning and planning board. So I know your time and commitment to your borough is greatly appreciated.
Is your license still current in New Jersey?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And some of my testimony will probably repeat some of the items that our engineer has spoke about. But the existing property at 9 Westminster is unique in several ways. It's currently a ranch, one story. It has a screened-in porch onto the right side, and the property is pretty much flat in front. It drops to the side, to the right, and in the back. And then the garages are, your driveway goes from Westminster around the property and into the back underneath the screened-in porch and the existing basement. Our proposal is to remove the roof and remove that screened-in porch. It's really a ranch that's in need of repair. So the main principal structure we want to keep, and we want to expand up and out. However, knowing that, and besides the uniqueness of the property, it's surrounded by one single-family house to the left, and rear and right side, it's the temple and I think it's the Loyola Retreat Center. So it's open space, other than the single-family house to the left of us, where our engineer said, I believe the side yard, which is existing, is 18.96. There's a buffer between our property that we want to keep, except that it will be cleaned up with this proposal. So that was our first variance that we're asking for. The existing left wall from the ranch to the property is 18.96. And with our proposal, when I go through the plans, we've kept our additions minimal on that side, not to affect that neighbor. Most of the additions that were bumped out are further to the middle of the house that meet the side yard requirements, and it's to the right of the property where it's more to the open space. The only addition that we are proposing to that left side neighbor is taking that existing structure and adding to the second floor. We didn't bump it out any portion too close to that neighbor. The other unique item with this property is Westminster, the road, does not travel for the entire width of this non-conforming lot. It actually turns, if I can just go back to our engineer's layout, Westminster Place actually turns before you reach the end of the property. So no cars or no people will ever continue on. It's not an interior lot, as it was laid out from the original subdivision. So when we're asking for the combined side yards, because we have a side-loaded garage, the combined side yard, we're asking for a variance. But that perception of a person or a car will never really be seen. You're not really driving past this property and noticing what that side yard is. You're basically, before you reach 3/4 of the property, you're turning 90 degrees and heading the other way. So it's atypical of a typical interior lot that's the width of the property. So with that being said, what we're proposing for Mr. Glenn David is, besides also removing the driveways that were in the backyard, just giving him the opportunity for open space, possibly a pool later on. But our proposal is to add out, go up, and put the side-loaded garages. The plans I have are on the easel, are the plans that we submitted to the board, no changes. Sheet A1, which I'll get to, is the views, the elevation of the property. Sheet A2 is our basement. So you can see that for the most part, the existing footprint is going to stay. We're asking for the 18.96 0.96 side yard, that's the left side. That's the single-family structure that we're facing. We're going to keep that wall, and I'll show you the additions up. The other variance that we're asking for is the front yard setback, which is existing. I believe that number was 55.43. Our proposal will not increase that at all. In fact, any additions that we do, especially to the garage, we're going to set that back 3.5 feet. So that 55.43 still stays as a non-conforming setback. Then the other variance that we're asking for is the total side yards. And again, this is a non-conforming width of a property, so where 75 feet is required for the total side, we're at 66.67. And it's because, like I said, we left the right side of the structure. We removed the open porch and we added a 3-car side load garage, and that's what kind of triggered the total side yards. That's the third variance. However, we felt that, again, because of the shape of the road and because this is located in an open space, it really has zero effect to any neighbors or anyone in the public. So basically an open space. We are proposing a set of stairs to an open space with a bedroom, a bathroom, and a utility room. And this is currently a walkout basement and will remain a walkout basement. And that's basically because of the topography of the building, the way it slopes from front to back. So I have sheet A3, which is the first floor plan. I'll touch on again, this is the wall that remains at 8.98 feet. We're not expanding the front or the back of that structure. We want to keep this as minimal so it doesn't affect our neighbors. The additions start further back, which is, it would be about 34 feet. So we do meet the side yard setback for any projections out to the rear. What we're proposing on this floor is you got your foyer that's opened up to a great room, opened up to a kitchen, a dining room, a living room, an office, a full bath, a little mudroom, and then the addition of the 3-car garage to the right of the building. So the width of the building, basically the main structure, starts from where the existing is to the main structure of the house, then the addition of the 3-car garage. Then we have a set of stairs that go to the top floor, which are the bedroom level. This is sheet A4. So we have a set of stairs that go upstairs. We have an open 2-story foyer. We have a total of 4 bedrooms up here. Each bedroom has their own walk-in closet and bathroom. And again, I'm just going to touch on the left side of the structure. The smallest portion of the building is all the way to the right. That's the area that's closest to the only single-family house that's adjacent to us. So we try not to make that any worse than it really is, other than the second floor addition. We continue down to a hallway. We have a laundry room, another bedroom with a closet and a bathroom. And then we have the entire master suite, which is a walk-in closet, master bedroom, and master bedroom. So all in all, on this floor, it's 4 bedrooms. We have a bedroom in the basement, so it would be a 5-bedroom house. I'll move on to sheet A1, which is the views of the house. So we got the front elevation. Again, we're adding a second floor to the existing structure and the addition of the garage to the right side. We proposed a stucco house with flat windows, kind of more of a modern feel to it. And I just want to, when we worked on these plans with Mr. David, we realized that, we're asking for a variance, especially on the left side. This is where the minimal effect as far as the addition. We didn't go out on this side of the house. We also dropped the roof down lower, so we have less of an effect to the neighbor to the left of us. As far as the 2-story structure, we meet the height. We're from the average grade, we're at 33.55 feet, where 35 feet is required. So we felt that this fits within the guidelines of the zoning ordinance, even though we're asking for 3 variances. Again, one side yard, total side yards, and the front yard. And again, the side yard is existing, the front yard existing. We're not making it any worse than it is. And we felt that the combined side yard really, again, has no detriment to the public because of the open space we have and because of the way Westminster Road turns away from the property, that you really don't get a sense of that side yard. So you got the elevation to the rear. Again, it'll be stucco. That's a walkout basement with windows looking out the backyard. With this proposal, we'll have more open space in the rear yard where the only neighbor, even though it's buffered, originally stored cars and driveway in the backyard. We're going to eliminate that, and we'll have the cars all the way toward the open space on the right. So that would be it. So again, we're asking for 3 variances, 2 of which are existing, and we're not making that any worse.
Do you also have to apply to the town of Morristown on this?
I don't think we do. Well, we applied for our notice,
Right,
but when I called and said any variances, they said, no, we were dealing specifically here.
okay, so they'll,
Yeah.
okay. So you don't have to go to the Morristown Board to get any approval?
No.
All right,
I think before the town's going to issue a permit, we'll need a letter from Morristown that says that, okay?
I mean, they do know.
Because otherwise, I would think you have to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The improvement of the home is split
Yeah.
by the municipal boundary, and
Yeah.
then the address is.
Cuts
to the
right
road
through it
in the
diagonally.
on our
Well, you
side.
see, right, it's,
Yeah.
oh, he doesn't have it on his, but yeah, it's,
up in the corner.
even when we first started, I called Morristown, they said,
Yeah.
yeah, apply for here, and
Okay, well, most of your proposed garage is in Morristown, so I would think normally you have to get that from Morristown, but if they're gonna waive it, that's fine. You just have to get a letter so that they can issue the
we could
permits.
contact them and
Yeah.
absolutely whatever.
Okay.
I guess whatever the process is.
Yeah.
Do you know what their zone is on the other side of the line?
I'm sorry,
Do you know what their
setbacks are?
setbacks are on the other
I
side of the line?
don't, because when they told us, no, they don't really have anything to review, we kind of just came straight here.
Did you submit the plans to Morristown or just call them?
I called them personally and they said, they don't.
Yeah, I'm just
they don't wanna
wondering,
see 'em.
I'm just wondering if they'd seen the plans, they might have answered differently because they didn't know exactly where you were putting things.
We could send it to them, right? I mean, I thought the same thing, I thought we'd have to go to both plan boards, just because the majority of the property is there.
Right, the majority of where the improvement is gonna be.
Correct, right. We could call them and submit a plan and see what they're.
Right,
And if
Well,
not,
it's gonna be
we just
conditioned
need a
upon-
letter. They just need to know that, okay?
Absolutely, yes.
okay, board members, any questions?
Just quick clarification, because it looks to me like the existing rear wall
Yes.
comes from where the bedroom is proposed in the basement, straight over.
So this is the corner of the existing basement.
Right.
It's straight over. We do have overhangs in the back holding up the structure. So they start about.
So
30 over,
the
30 over.
addition, the first floor, then will have a separate exterior wall
Yes.
that
So,
will run parallel to this wall.
correct. So this is the first floor. This is the corner of the existing. If I follow the existing is there, but we extended the kitchen and family room further back, about 5 feet further back.
So you'll cantilever over the existing wall?
Over with supports, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And again, but this extension meets the
Sure,
side yard and total side yard.
sure. So really, the biggest difference in the volume of the house is the height. You're not going back very far.
Correct.
You have the garage and nothing on the
And even the
left side.
garage, even though we're out 24 feet, there's a 10-foot sunroom that has a garage under it.
Right,
We're taking that out, so we're another 14 feet
okay.
to the right.
All right, thank you.
But even when you're extending that out, it's just the combined side yard you need the variance for, not the single side for that part of the house.
Correct.
Because you're at 49, what's 30 is your minimum?
The side yard,
Yes,
30 is required.
30,
We're
right.
just under 19.
right, but you're on the other side, you're at 49.42, where 30 is required.
Right, correct. So we do have the 30, but we don't have the combined of 75. And also we're a non-conforming width lot. So-
Right. Any other questions from board members? Any members of the public with any questions of this witness? Seeing none, hearing none, close the public portion. Any further comments?
No, I think our proposal, like I said, really has no negative impact to any public. We're keeping the addition to the left as modest as possible. We are going to keep buffers. We're going to clean it up. The property gets cleaned up. I think it's a positive for the street and the streetscape.
Okay. Yeah, so your real problem started with the house being so close to the other side yard.
Other side and front. also.
Right, right. So that triggered all these variances.
Correct.
So I would be in favor of this, especially given the fact that there, we have Loyola and the temple being your neighbors, and there's no plans to develop anywhere near that.
And they're so far away.
Right.
And there's so much buffering.
I'd also make it conditioned on a letter or an approval from Morristown. Any other comments? If not, I'll entertain a oh,
I think my contractor is trying to say that we're going.
There's a letter, Joe, it's
from
in the-
Morristown.
That's fine. You're just gonna have to get it.
we're just gonna have to get it. And give it to our engineer. Okay, if no comments from the board members, I'll entertain a motion.
Move that we approve.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Goldberg,
Yes.
Mr. Trachtenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Benoit,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer,
Yes.
and Mr. Woodford.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We want to break before we start the next one. Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to start with BA 25-25, Nolan Holding Company. But before we adjourn, I have to recuse myself on that application because I live within the 200 feet. And,
I have to recuse myself also on the application.
okay, so we're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll reconvene.
I'd like to recall to order the March 23rd, 2026 meeting of the Morris Township Zoning Board, Board of Adjustment. Roll call, please.
Sure, we have Mr. Evangel.
Here.
Ms. Simmons,
Here.
Mr. Williams,
Here.
Mr. Schuster,
Here.
Mr. Benoit,
Here.
Mr. Kramer,
Here.
and Mr. Goldberg.
Here. All right, next up on the agenda is BA 2525, Block 2906, Lot 11. It is Knollwood Holdings LLC.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Steve Crystal. I'm an attorney for the state of New Jersey. Hereby representing 40 Knollwood Holding LLC and its sole member, owner, and manager, Mr. Michael Miloff. Also with us today is the architect, Mr. Jeffrey Cohen. And without further ado, I would like to offer the podium to the architect.
Sure, Steve, could you spell your last name for me, please?
Krishtul.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I'm just having a little trouble sharing my screen here. I hope I'll be able to do it in a second. Okay.
Okay. Mr. Gogan, would you stand and raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
And your full name for the record, please?
Jeffrey L. Gogan, architect and planner.
Okay, are you gonna do that, or?
Let Michael, the rest of
I was
the-
gonna talk to that.
We would like to offer to the owner, Michael, Mr. Michael Milo, who will be testifying here.
All right, I'll swear you into, and Joe, would you two please stand, raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Okay, and just for the record,
Engineer Joe Fuchs,
and
Michael Milo,
Michael,
Holdings,
can you
member,
spell your last name, please?
MILOV as in Victor.
Milov. Okay, and you're a member of Knollwood Holding?
Yes.
Sole member,
Sole member?
sole member,
Okay,
single member.
sole member of LLC.
And Rich also sworn.
I did that, I just did that before. Yeah, Mr. Gogan's under oath. And so who's going first?
I just want to introduce myself and just explain the situation. My wife and I bought this house a couple of years ago, like almost 3 years ago, with the intent to move into the area. We sold our house in Livingston, just kind of, which is too big for us. And we wanted to be we always liked Morris Township area. So we wanted to be in close proximity to all the restaurants and culinary scenes and the theater, also all the parks, and just go to like the attraction of being in kind of like a suburban setting and also like the city environment. So this house that I'm planning to renovate is, it's a little bit dated, and I went through multiple renovations in my previous home and always regretted not doing things like just the way I wanted. So this is kind of like my last place where I want to live. And I wanted to bring the house into like 21st century with higher ceilings, better finishes, interior and exterior, without like disturbing the look of the neighborhood. So not the house. I didn't want the house to kind of stand out from the look of the neighborhood. And I think Jeff did a very good job of keeping it like very traditional. And one of the reasons we're here is like I wanted to have like a nice spacious house with higher ceilings and nice big kitchen, because I love to cook, and we have a pretty tight, family that I'm hoping that will grow. My daughter just got married a few years ago. My son, we hope they will settle down.
Can you speak? Okay, speak a little more. You can pull the microphone over by you. You can sit down, it might be easier.
Okay. So, what else can I say? So, I mean, I guess that's about it. And we're hoping, to build a nice home that will be a good addition to the neighborhood.
Board members, any questions for the applicant?
Not yet.
No. Any members of the public, any questions for this applicant? Just questions for the applicant? please come up to the podium, state your name and address.
Good evening, Jason Churcha, Cherchia. I live at and own 31 Knollwood Drive. Just a couple questions. You said you bought the property about 3 years ago?
Yes.
Have you ever lived in it?
No.
You've been renting it out?
Yeah.
Okay. And the proposal actually has 2 kitchens in it, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. That's all I got at the moment.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashok Narayan.
I'm gonna
I
need you to
live
spell it,
on
please.
Black Watch Trail.
Excuse me, sir. Could you spell your name, please?
Yeah, Ashok Narayan. That's Narain. I live on Black Watch Trail, essentially diagonally behind the house in question. And the concern that I make my concern, it's an environmental concern that we already have.
So we're not doing any comments now or concerns, only
But it's a-
questions to what he testified to.
Questions for the,
So he just testified, do you have questions for the owner for what he testified to?
I mean, the plan is already there, so I know it's going to be an expansion. So there's really no question as such. Because
okay, there will be a
I've seen
time at the
plan.
end of the application for comments.
Okay.
So this is just for
Thank you.
questions for the
Thank
applicant.
you.
You're
Thank
welcome. You're welcome.
Hello. Brian Milio, 16 Canterbury Way,
Okay, would you spell your last name, please?
MILEO. Just a question for the owner. You mentioned you're moving out of Livingston because your house is too small.
No, it's too big.
Your house is too big. Can you tell us the square footage of your home in Livingston?
Close to 5,000.
Close to 5,000 square feet? Okay. And the architect will reveal the square footage of the new house that's being renovated? When we talk to the architect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. Timothy Dixon at 14 Kissel Lane. You mentioned that your children are older and recently were married.
My daughter got married.
Who else would be living in the house with you?
Just my wife and I.
Just your wife and I. Thank you.
My name is Frank Zupa. I live at 23 Canterbury Way, which is a couple of blocks away from this house. And you said you needed more space. You
No, I
said
wanted a
you wanted
spacious.
more spacious house,
No, spacious feeling house with higher ceilings.
but the house that you're proposing has in excess of 5,000 square feet.
No, it doesn't.
I've looked at the plans. Your architect can answer that question. Time comes. But with regard to why do you need 4 rooms with locks and separate bathrooms? That has nothing to do with what you said.
Well, when my family comes and stays with me, I like them to be comfortable.
And each one should have their own bathroom and a locked door.
Well, what's wrong with that? I mean,
I'm just
it's about comfort and, privacy. People.
Okay. And then the second kitchen is called the baker's kitchen?
Well, I'm a amateur baker. I like to make, one of my hobbies is I like to bake sourdough bread, for my friends. I give it away. This is what I for my family.
Well, I'll reserve the other questions for your other test.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other members of the public with any questions for the applicant? Hearing none, seeing none, close the public portion.
Introduce the architect for the proposed renovation of the house, Mr. Jeffrey Gogan.
Mr. Gogan?
Thank you. I feel a little out of place sitting down, but I hope that's okay. I'm going to look at my screen, which shouldn't exactly agree with what's on the large display.
So before we do that, can we go over credentials,
Yes.
please, for the board?
Jeffrey Gogan, architect. I'm at 35 Pine Street in Morristown. I've been in Morristown working as an architect and planner since 1984. and I graduated NJIT in 1978, became licensed in 1983, and I've been to testifying before many boards in this whole area and North Jersey, including this board, for many years.
And do you have a license in New Jersey as an architect?
Yes, I'm licensed as an architect and a professional planner.
And both licenses are current?
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
Okay, proceed. We'll accept your
Okay.
credentials. Yeah.
All right, so I'll try to quickly go through this. Essentially, I'm just going to zoom in here if I can. Let's see.
So what's on the screen, is that the plan that the board has in its packet?
Yes, I actually logged onto the website with your display, with your exhibits that you're sharing
Okay,
with the
so
public.
nothing's different than what we have, right?
No, no, it isn't.
Okay.
There was another exhibit that is on the site that I don't have up here, but I might have to try to click on it. So I didn't bring them on my computer. Yeah, we're here because the existing house is, it's not too bad, but it is a case where there were some situations in the house, in the building, that were not ideal. For one, actually, you know what I think I'll do? I'll scroll down. Well, let me just summarize while I'm on this sheet. We're here for 3 variances. And I think you can see the pointer on the display, right? Can you? Yeah, you can see my mouse pointer on the display. So I'm pointing at this existing right side yard of 17.1 feet to the corner of the house. And so that is remaining. However, we are planning to raise that roof in that same corner so that it triggers a variance, because we're actually projecting the second floor further up than it is now. Okay, so that is a variance. And then, battery running low. I don't know why that would be. I just charged it. It's a fairly new computer, but it's running low, and I do have a charger. Is there a receptacle here?
Oh, right there.
Okay, yeah, if you could just, I'll just put it right here. You just walk around it. Hopefully it'll come right back. That's amazing. Maybe the IT guy can bring it up from his end, and I can just ask him to scroll if I have to, while it's not coming right back on. Here, maybe I'll have it now. Let's see. But I'll have to see if it still has it all.
Yeah, on the website, you got it at the ask.
Board of Directors, I'm bringing the OneDrive.
Sorry. Okay. I think let's see if it's not sharing, right? Is it? I don't know if I'm still. Okay. I think I'm back now. All right. So, I was just about to explain that another variance is in the left side yard, where it's currently 29.7 feet to that front left corner of the garage. They want to bump out a little bit in the front of that garage
to create like a pedestrian door there, as well as a little area for recycling bins and so on, where it's convenient to take it out during the pickups. And we wanted to align this sidewall right here, we wanted to align it with the existing sidewall of the house so that it would look normal. It wouldn't look like it was cut in on that corner just to maintain that left side yard. So we're asking for a proposed side yard of 29.2, so it's only half a foot less than what it is now. It's quite a bit more than the single side yard requirement, but the reason it affects us is because of the combined side yards requirement. So because we're short on the right side, it required that we actually have more on the left side. So, and I'll go to those numbers in a second. So those are the only two variances in plan. We're fine with the rear yard, the front yard, all the coverages. So the third variance has to do with the height of the building. And in that case, we are looking to raise the pitch of the roof for architectural reasons, but also to raise the ceiling height of the first floor and the second floor. And so the ridge of the roof, which, in Morris Township, we measure from the average grade, which is a function of the topography 20 feet away from the footprint of the house. So this happens to be quite a hilly site, so our average grade is a little lower than normal, lower than it would be if it was a flatter site. And we have to measure to the ridge of the roof in Morris Township. So it brings us up to 38.4 feet, where 35 feet is permitted.
And so, Mr. Gogan, I have a couple of questions on the variance list, right? So one of them I just want to point out with respect to height, you're literally about 1 inch away from a required D variance for height, right? And I want to point out to you that if this board were to approve 38.4 at the conclusion of construction before a CO can be issued, they need to do an as-built survey that's going to show the height. So if the height is just 1 inch, 1.2 roughly inches higher than what this says, you're going to have to come back here for a use variance before a CO can issue. And if it's not granted, you're going to have to cut the roof.
Yes.
So, I mean, the point is you're bringing this awfully close.
It is
right?
close.
And you're relying on your contractors to be exact in an industry that's not always so exact.
Right. We are aware of that. In fact, the town engineer and their staff were the ones who pointed out how we were just an inch or so over that 10% limit.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually revised the application before submitting it and dropped it down under the 3.5 feet allowed under a C variance.
Mm-hmm.
And so we know how critical it is, and we are going to have a surveyor, before we even frame the whole roof, he's going to come out and check the first two rafters, and we'll have them certify the height of the ridge of the roof, okay? We realize how important that is. We aren't going to build it and then wonder if we're okay or not, so.
Yeah, well, most people don't usually bring it to within an inch, right? So, and I'm pointing that out because I just want to be very clear that if this moves forward at that proposed height, and if there's an approval, and if you go over 38.4,
I understand that.
You're back here with the possibility of cutting the roof.
I understand that, and we are fully aware of that and are very serious about
Then
adhering to it.
Okay, I just want to be sure the applicant is aware. Okay.
Yes, we've talked about it, and we'll make sure that we have that ridge certified before we go too far along.
Okay.
So if I may then.
Yeah.
The discussion of the as-built, it would be appropriate to certify that ridge height during when it's beamed up and not after it's been fully rocked
Right.
out and weathered in.
Sooner the better, right?
Right,
As
so
a
essentially
condition.
with the foundation permits,
Yeah.
right? Establishing that roof and shooting and submitting that as-built there. And then as a follow-up to that, do you have within your tool set as an architect other roof slope options that would still work with the habitable space that you can work with, playing with the pitch of the roof to address an intricate.
Yes, we can, if we have that survey done and we find that for some reason something didn't work out, we can lower the pitch at that time. And we may even do that as a precaution
So
before.
At time of framing, is that
Yeah,
what I want to
kind
say?
of framing
Okay.
for the the roof.
For the roof
roof ridge elevation to be certified by ASBIL.
Okay. And then, Joe, let me ask you, I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at the square footage of the lot itself?
Yes, so I was just trying to pull up the deed. I was able to find tax records
Okay.
through njpropertyfacts.com search of last year's tax records that shows the land description at 0.362 acres, which would be just under 16,000 square feet in size. It appears there's likely a typo on the Lakeland survey, the sheet 2 of the set, that indicates 31,000 square feet for the lot, block 2906, lot 11. It's roughly 130 by 135 in dimensions.
Right.
So what's shown on the zoning map would appear to be incorrect because it's based off of a survey that is carrying, I believe, a typo on the plan. I'm just looking to pull the deed booking page to see the description that's in title to see if that gives a square footage. So I'll do that and then we can follow back to me.
Okay, so we're going to come back to that thought because it impacts other things like coverage, right?
This is the first I've heard that. It's interesting. But I did rely on that survey square
Yeah,
footage, so
right.
I was not aware that there might be a mistake on it. And I was just looking to see if maybe I picked the area of the lot myself, but I'm not seeing it.
No, it says 31,000 on the survey.
Yeah, so I think I relied on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so should I keep going here?
Yeah, we'll come back to that issue, I think.
I'll have it in a second. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so on the cover sheet, I have my coverage calculations here, and then below that, I have the schedule of zoning requirements where I highlighted the height of 38.4, where 35 is permitted, and then the one side on the left, 29.2, where we have 29.7, but 20 is required for a single side yard. But more was required because of the shortage on the right side for the combined side yard. So for combined sides, it's required to have 50. So typically for a house, for example, if you have 20 on one side, you'd have to have 30 on the other side. And we are at 46.8 right now, and we will be at 46.3 feet. Okay, so those are the variances, and then I'm just gonna, let me see if I can back up here, and then I'm just gonna skip over, this is the survey Joseph was just talking about, and that's the area he was just talking about on the surveyor, which we do rely on. And you can see here on the survey, I have it on my site plan too, that the slope is quite severe with the topographic lines. There's a hill going down in this direction, and when we calculated the height of the building, we had to measure the topography all the way over in this area off of our site because it's 20 feet from the footprint of the house. And that brought our average grade lower and is one of the reasons we triggered a variance. These sheets I'm going to scroll through are the ones for the paving and hardscape plan, which are really just, they have a stormwater system, which I'll talk about. We are proposing a good-sized dry well to pick up more than the required amount of water being a runoff coming from the roof. And this will all be reviewed by the township engineer as part of the process as soon as the variance is complete. But they have this already ready to be reviewed. And essentially, it's just keeping most of the existing grading and a few changes in the rear around the rear addition. And then the next sheet is it's really more about the storm runoff. It shows the proposed perimeter drains leading from the roof leaders over to the dry well. And they'll review all of that, of course. And then some dry well details and calculations for the volume, and then some more details of the site and any pavers or patio work or anything, some plantings, and then some trenching. And also, this is the first architectural plan, is the basement or foundation plan. So I'll just back out here again. And so the existing basement is this rectangle right here. It has a little recreation room, a little closet area, a rear unfinished area with mechanical equipment, and it has some basement windows. And then the left side of the drawing is all slab on grade where the garage is. This rear portion here, if you can see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. This dotted line, which I'm pointing to, is where there's an existing sunroom, we called it, over a deck. It was built on top of a deck, which is not ideal, obviously. It only had 3 sonotubes under it. So we decided to rebuild it, and then while we were doing that, we decided to expand it a little bit to the right and to the rear to create a little bit nicer, usable family room. And but it was all respecting all the setbacks. And then you can see also that we're proposing a little under 5 feet bump out along the back of the house, which is 2 stories, and that will allow more room for a mudroom and for a kitchen, a nicer kitchen, and also it helped us in the second floor with which I'll show you. And this is the foundation for the front bump out of the garage I mentioned earlier, where there's just a pedestrian door and a little bit of extra room there because the space in the garage is pretty much adequate just for the 2 cars with a little bit of extra storage on the back wall. The ceiling height is quite low in this basement, so we are also proposing to step down into this larger room, which will become more functional, useful room with a better normal ceiling. Not, probably closer to 8 feet or not, still a little under 8 feet. And then there's a walkout sliding door proposed right here to a lower patio, which will then step up a little bit and have a little area for barbecuing or smoker or some little bit of outdoor barbecue type equipment. And then the patio will step up along the back of the addition to an existing patio, which is up in this upper left side of the drawing. And that is being expanded very slightly just to align with this walkway. This is the line proposed for the patio right here. And you can see some of the regrading, just filling a little bit here and creating a very low retaining wall here to cut into there to allow this walkout basement. So right now it's not a walkout. And I'll go down to the first floor. Back out of here a second again, and here you can see the front bump out with the pedestrian door and a little bit of area for bins for recycling and such. There's an existing portico on the front of the house, which is going to remain. We're just going to redo the columns and the detailing of it. And then here are the 2 garages. They're staying. And we're proposing this mudroom on the back with a toilet and sink, a little powder room and some closets and a pantry and a little area with a back door and a garage, a door from the garage. And then you walk through a hallway over to the kitchen, which is kind of an open breakfast room, kitchen area. And then there's a door to this back family area. And then we still have this existing family room with a fireplace, pretty much as it is. The dining room is still there as it is, and the living room is there, but we're making it a little smaller to be able to add a front powder room and a hall closet. And then this front foyer is a 2-story, and that's remaining, but we're replacing the stairwell, and then the basement stairs go down under that same stair. Now let's scroll down to the second floor. Let me just back up a little bit here. So here's that same stairwell and the open foyer. This is an existing bedroom. This is an existing bedroom, but we are carving out a little space from this bedroom to create an ensuite bathroom with a walk-in closet. And I heard the question earlier about why so many ensuite bathrooms, and it is something we see quite often now in upper scale houses where people want to allow a guest or a family member to have their own bathroom right off the bedroom. When they can, they do it. If they can't, of course you have hall baths. We still have a hall bathroom, but we even put a door into that from this bedroom to allow somebody to use it in that way. Well, I mentioned the 4-foot bump out on the back. Well, it's actually a little over 4 feet, closer to 5, I think. Let me just see. Make sure I tell you exactly. That's 4'8". So this whole section is new along the back here. And that allows us to expand to have a nicer family room. We expanded this existing hall bathroom. That's what's there now. All we did was take a part of the addition for a toilet room so that it's a little bit more private. And then there's an existing bedroom on this area, which is remaining. And then there's a bedroom in this corner, which is now becoming part of the master suite. It's becoming a big walk-in closet dressing area. And you walk through there into a new addition over the garage. So this whole section here is a new bump out over the garage, this whole section. And it goes over the bump out on the front, and it goes over the bump out on the back. So basically it has a couple of walk-in closets and a decent master bath with 2 lavatories, private toilet, a tub and a shower, and then a sleeping room. And there's another little bathroom off of this bedroom. And in this hallway, normally you might see, and right now there's a pull-down stair to the attic. But we decided to try to make the most of the attic with what we call a habitable attic, which means that we raise the pitch of the roof and put a compliant everyday stair, not a pull-down stair, up to the attic. So I'm going to scroll down to the attic plan. So you can walk up that stair to kind of like a bonus room where the grandkids could crash if they're visiting. It is a legal sleeping area if somebody wanted to sleep up there, although it isn't a bedroom. Right now, we don't even have a door to it. We could put a door at the bottom of the stairs, but we have an egress window. We have dormers in the front. So we wanted to raise the pitch to get, I'll show you the elevation, to get a more traditional, steeper roof over the dormers. And we're going to put a new HVAC system up there for the second floor and the attic. But basically, you come up the stair, there's just an open dormitory feeling for an office or for people who need to work at home and need a quiet area where the kids and the pets aren't running around. I'm sure everybody after COVID has experienced that problem when you want to have a little bit of extra elbow room, a little private area where you can either have an office or have a play area or another little section for whatever. So that's called a habitable attic. It's limited by the square footage of the second floor. So the rule is that any area that has more than 7 feet of headroom can't exceed 33% of the second floor area. So that is a code issue, and it's considered actually one way to think of it is like a mezzanine of the second floor. It's technically considered part of the second floor under the International Residential Code, but it is an upper level of the second floor. It's called a habitable attic. So now I'll just look at the elevations. I have to.
So before you jump off the attic, what's the ceiling height again in the attic?
Let me see if I can. The area that you count for that 33% rule is any area that's higher than 7 feet, 7 feet or higher. So you see this dashed line right here goes around like this. This is the 7-foot line. So it follows the dormer around because it's partially in the dormer.
It's really hard to see your cursor, but is that the one that's kind of in the
Let me
middle
look
there?
up there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for example, right there, you see that 7-foot ceiling? That dashed line can be used all the way around to, you'll see that that's where the 7-foot line is.
Yeah.
I'll just go it slow here. And then you can see it. So basically, you see the same 7-foot ceiling line right here. So these parts are sloped. You've probably seen these attics with dormers, and you have sloped ceiling going down next to the dormer, and that's what you would see here, and as well as in the backside. And so part of it has, this rear area is a shed dormer that's facing the rear yard, and that does have a 7-foot ceiling. Okay, the front elevation. Actually, I think I'm going to go to the left side first because here you can see where the existing roof is. This dashed line is, if you can see my cursor, is where the existing roof line is. And so the proposed main roof, which is beyond this garage roof, is this line here that goes up, and then you see it appear up here. So that's the main triangle of the roof over that dormer, over that attic I just talked about. This is the rear shed dormer over that attic, and these are the front gable dormers in front of the attic. And then we have 3 similar dormers along the left side for the master suite with a cathedral ceiling, the 2 existing garage doors, the pedestrian door that we're proposing. And so again, this is all an addition right here, this whole portion in front of the existing garages. And then this is that 4-foot 8-inch addition in the rear, this whole section. And then this is the sunroom beyond, and again, that was just to here before. And this was the roof, the top of the roof. So it's gotten larger in both directions and the roof got steeper. So now I'll go back to the front. And you can see here, basically the window pattern is the same, although these are taller windows because they're proposing to raise this second floor up to the 10-foot ceiling and the 9-foot ceiling on the second floor. So all the windows are nicer, taller, more traditional with transoms. The same thing with the portico, taller, slender columns with a new roof over it. that's the existing chimney on the right that you see beyond in that family room area in the back right corner. And then these are the 3 dormers in the front with the steeper roof, which wouldn't be possible if the roof was kept at a lower level. And then we have this similar gable on the over the garage with a connecting roof here. And these are those dormers on the side, the left side.
So those 3 dormers at the uppermost level, right, that's,
These
those
up
are
here?
serving the attic?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Did you consider just reducing the height of the attic so that you could comply with the height requirement?
You know, we were close to that before, but really what drives it is pushing the second floor up 2 feet. Right now it's at 8-foot ceiling, becoming a 10-foot ceiling, and another foot for the second floor. So that's 3 feet higher that the attic floor would have to go up to get those 2 floors where they were hoping to get them.
So you have a 10-foot ceiling on the first floor, a 9-foot ceiling on the second floor.
Yes.
A 7-foot ceiling in the attic. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Nothing higher than 7 feet.
Yeah, but that, see, I'm just really focused on the height of this house. So, and I just want to know what your thinking was as to why you think you need to exceed the height, right? What's driving the height of this house? Why can't you comply?
I would like to, of course, explain that, and I'll go ahead and get into that while we're here. So essentially, it's a combination of the desire for the 10-foot ceiling on the first floor, the 9-foot on the second floor, and then having a roof that's steep enough. This is only a 9-pitch roof. It's not even a 10 or 12, which is what we would have liked. This is a 12. These are 12-pitch roofs here. These over the dormers only. The main roof is only a 9-pitch roof. The ones facing the street we made 12. But I'm sorry. Let me get back over here.
I'm sorry, could you explain the 9 and 12 for those?
I'm sorry?
Could you explain what you mean by a 12 roof or a 9 roof?
Yes, if I can gesture, a 45-degree angle would be 12 feet horizontally and 12 feet vertically. So that would be a 12-on-12 roof. But if you drop it down to a 9-on-12, it's only 9 feet vertically to 12 feet horizontally. So it's like a right triangle. But that's how we call it, a 9-pitch or 8-pitch or 7-pitch. And it drops like that.
Thank you.
So I just go back to this existing pattern here, and you can see vaguely right here where the gutter line is, where the soffit is right now, right there. So for that soffit has to go up 3 feet, and then if we did that and then we tried to comply with 35, it would be a very low pitch roof. So really the right thing to do is to raise the pitch of the roof and to raise the whole roof up. But the reason that we
Well, it'd be a
that
low
variance-
pitch roof if you wanted to maintain the 7-foot attic, right?
Well, the 7 foot is, I'll just see if I have it drawn here. Yeah, you see this dashed line right here, that's the 7-foot line right there. So even if we drop this ridge down, let's say it would come down to just a little under 7 feet, right? And you wouldn't have any flat ceiling at 7 feet. The ridge itself would be at 7 or less. It's probably possible, but I just think it's really appropriate, and I'll explain why. I think we have some hardships here that justify that few extra feet. And the other thing I want to point out is that I know in Morris Township, we do measure from what's called the average grade line, which is right here, up to the ridge of the roof. In a lot of municipalities, we don't measure to the ridge, we measure to what's called the mean rafter height, which is the
Yeah,
middle.
but here we measure to the
I know
top.
you do measure
Right.
to the top. But I only mention it because as you drive around, this house, if it was in any other town around Morris Township that measures to the mean rafter like most towns, it would look normal. It wouldn't look like it was too high or anything.
Can you compare it to the houses in the neighborhood then? If you're going to make the comparison to the houses in other towns and definitions in other towns, let's please.
Right, I don't mean to say, yeah, I realize in that whole neighborhood and zone, everybody's house is measured the same way, from the average grade to the ridge. But,
And in relative scale to the other homes in the neighborhood, what is the average height of surrounding homes compared to the proposed request for a height variance?
right, actually, I'm gonna see, I'm having trouble scrolling here for some reason. Oh, maybe, Ryan might have split the exhibits. I had them all rolled up, but I think he made them separate, right, Ryan? You made, I think I have to go in and find that other exhibit. I had another exhibit where I showed the neighborhood topography and some photos, but I believe they were posted separately, and I could try to find that in just a second. I'm sorry, I didn't realize they were separated. But I'll just say it, let me just explain it from the standpoint of the front elevation, where I think you can see that the slope of the property starts up quite, let's say 3 or 4 feet higher on the left side of it. It comes down the hill, across the driveway, and then across the house, and then down another few feet down to here. And then it continues downhill. And so we actually had to start the 20-foot topography measurement around the perimeter of the house all the way out here. I'll go back to the site plan where I have it. And I'll try to go back and log on to that exhibit with the topography. But you can see here how it is quite a steep slope. The entire road kind of slopes down in that area. So you have the high side of the house. The high side is way up here. So that's at 404 feet above sea level. And then the low area where we had to measure to was closer to 394. So it's about a 10-foot drop from one side to the other. And that forced our average grade down. I'm going to show you that again on the front elevation.
So perhaps just pull to that front elevation and let's walk through your average grade calc real quick. Or, sorry, not the front elevation, the site plan layout.
So that brought our average grade all the way down to under 399.1.
Yeah, so just pull back your site plan so we can discuss how we get to the change in that average grade.
You want to see the whole front elevation?
To the site plan layout.
Oh, the site plan, okay.
So the existing home has an outer footprint of the foundation, and then our grade calculation is done 20 feet off to the outside. So the average grade calculation, if the property isn't modified, only changes in the locations where the foundation is relocated by additions, right? So the change in your average grade comes from the additions to the side and to the rear of the home that put the 20-foot buffer outward further in either direction. So on the side of the driveway, things remain relatively consistent with the addition above. And then to the rear is where the foundation line moves out significantly towards the rear of the property, which is generally sloping to the west. So it's that western corner of the property where we see that regrading happening around the side of the building to try to pull the grade back up because we're going into a lower portion with the footprint of the foundation.
Right, so I'll just try to say the same thing, with pointing at it. This corner is an addition, as I mentioned, the 4.4 foot 8 inch. And so we have to measure 20 feet off of that corner, and that gives us our highest point over here somewhere. And then because we're expanding this addition in the rear here, we had to measure 20 feet out this way, which is a little lower out here than what it is today, which is off this corner. See, here's the existing corner. So now we're up here, so we have to measure further out.
Right.
And then the same thing is true over here, this corner, but that didn't really make too much difference. But the biggest thing is over here in this corner where there's 17.1, so we had to come another 3 feet over. And the average height was factored on this area over here, which drops off quite a bit.
And in that corner, the existing average height grade is the proposed average height grade.
Yes, we're leaving the existing grades as they are in that corner.
And the foundation is the same corner.
Yes, the foundation's the same. So it's really the same all the way around here. We're not changing any of those grades. So I really think, it's a case of, that's why we have variances and so on, to see when something is appropriate and it's not going to look too out of scale. I really don't believe it will, because there are a lot of houses built with these types of ceiling heights and steeper roofs, and it looks very nice. It doesn't look it's not a monstrosity.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Maybe I can focus this a little bit. Is what you're telling us that if you were in the same current footprint, but at the proposed height, you would be compliant? Is that what you're telling us? That you're going to a datum that's lower because of the expansion back? Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
That's partially right,
The addition
yes.
to the rear is going into land
Is what's-
that's lower.
Right, so
Then
that's
you take that
driving that number up. So what would the number be? I'm not suggesting that you don't do the expansion backward, but what would be the number on the current footprint to your proposed height?
Without the 20-foot rule, is that what you mean?
If you go with the current
Oh, I
data
see,
points.
without the additions.
Not the additions backward, but to the slope the peak that you're proposing, it wouldn't be 38.4 feet. What would it be?
On the plan, it's listed as 31.8.
That's the existing.
That's the
but
existing.
I know what you're
This
asking.
is gonna be higher,
But yeah.
because I saw the shadow. How much higher is it?
So architecturally, how much higher are you going from the existing roof
Right, I
peak
think
at
that's a
31.8?
question a lot of people will have.
I think that's the way to look at it. So if we know that the existing height calculates at 31.8 feet,
Right,
how high architecturally from that existing ridge is the proposed ridge?
exactly,
And that difference is the difference of perceived height to the application.
exactly, which I think is probably gonna be important to a lot of us here.
I think you could derive that from the elevation view.
Right,
I'm asking for help from the experts here.
Can we derive that now? Yeah.
I meant for them
Yes.
to extract it from their plan and testify it to you, on direct.
Mr. Goldberg, you understand why I'm asking this question?
Correct. yeah.
Okay.
I'll try to address it. I know what you're asking. Like if we didn't expand that rear family room and that rear left corner and have to measure further out, the 20-foot line went further out, enlarging the difference between the lowest and the highest point, essentially. What would it be? If right? That's basically what you're saying.
Right.
And all I can say is I am saying here that our existing height is at 31.8, but I don't know that that was carefully calculated with the 20-foot rule, honestly. I think it was,
But
but
then your architectural's calling 32.3 existing ridge from the average grade.
Yeah, sure.
So 32.
just looking at it from the street,
It's 32 feet. You know what I mean? So the proposed 37.5. No, 38.4. 38.4. I'm looking at I believe, a 6.1 foot increase in height.
From the 31,
The proposal.
From
from what's current to what would be.
I don't want to speak for his architectural,
Yes.
but from A5 in the left side elevation, hold of that.
is this the one you want to see?
Yeah, so you're on that right side of there's on the right side, right above left side elevation, straight up. You have your average grade at 3991, right? 399.1, which is matching your cover sheet.
Yes.
Average grade elevation, and then you're pulling up from that 32.3 to existing roof ridge. It's that first dimension right there.
Yes, this is 32.3.
32.3 instead of 31.8, right? What we were looking at on the other sheet. So we'll for architecturally, we'll go off 32.3
Okay.
compared to you have either listing 37.5 or max approved 38.4 on the next dimension over.
Right, so we're asking for the approval at 38 point, but we're probably, for all practical reasons, which was discussed earlier, going to build a little lower just to play it safe, but we'll have a little margin of error there.
Right, but the dimension is calling at 37.5 on one side of that line, 37.5 average grade to ridge, and then below it, max approved by board 38.4. So that's what we're trying to get to, is which of those two numbers is the height to compare to the 32.3 to determine the height increase of the structure. Just architecturally, the height increase.
Right.
And then we could discuss the actual variance and the perceived height based on the average grade.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I am getting the question absolutely clear in my mind, but I just want to point out that, again, if you look at this left elevation that Joseph was just pointing at, the average grade is down almost 3 feet from the apron of the garage, from the grade here. We have to measure
Understood.
quite a bit lower.
But we're measuring off the same average grade point to both of those call outs.
Right.
Existing 32.3 feet, existing ridge, and then as you slide over a little bit, plan right, above the V in elevation, there's two numbers on that same call out.
Right.
And that's the question, just to clarify, which is the architectural height as proposed? 37.5 or 38.4 dimensioned on the plans?
Right. I know the application is 38.4, but I honestly don't know that I can answer very authoritatively on why that's 37.5 doesn't agree with it. I think when I was making a last minute change after the height calculation was questioned by the engineer, I did drop the pitch, and so we might be able to accept a lower height than 38.4. Maybe you could just approve it at some point higher than 37.5 just to leave a little leeway there, but
Well, to demonstrate the height variance, you're going to have to know so that they can quantify the mitigation that they would consider in any form of approval. Right, what probably most important to this discussion of the variance on the height, a C or a D, but we're a C right now. We'll agree that we're a C. That's the way it's been noticed. That's the way it's been presented. Is the difference in height from the existing structure to the new ridge height. And so it's either 31.8 or 32.3 as the existing from that, based on the two plan references, and then to this 37.5 or 38.4. So if we take the 38.4, well, 37.5. So it's either 5.2 feet or 6 point.
Okay, I'm sorry that there is a little discrepancy there. I just spoke to my client, and we're agreeable to the 37.5 height, and we can amend the application accordingly, and we'll make it work. We'll just drop the pitch and make it work somehow.
So you would make the adjustment based upon changing the pitch of the roof, not the height of the floors?
I'm sorry?
You would change the height of the roof line based upon the pitch of the roof, not the height of the floors?
Yeah, we'll just drop the pitch a little bit if we have to make it. We'll make sure that we adhere to that maximum height.
But can you speak to, and I think this was a question that Mr. Oler started this conversation with, the justification for the height of each of the floors? So the 10 on the first floor, the 9 on the second floor, and the 7, because that's adding to the overall height of the building, which causes that pitch. So can you speak to why do those floors have to be? I understand the applicant's wish for a more spacious interior, get that. But does it have to be so spacious that it really pushes the height of the building up over the code?
Yes, I'll say, what I could say to that is that a lot of these houses along that street and in that neighborhood were built with 8-foot ceilings on both floors, which is pretty typical for these suburban houses. And in a lot of these projects that we see, we're being asked to remove walls and make rooms larger. Right now, you can see dashed in here, there's a bathroom right here, and there's a wall here separating this little breakfast area from the family room. So now that's all being opened up into a big entertaining area with the kitchen, the dining, a breakfast area, and a sitting area where everybody can talk to each other while they're preparing food and so on. And that's kind of like the great room effect that people seek today. And when you make a room larger horizontally, it can feel quite flat if it's only 8 feet high. So you tend to want to raise the height along with the width and the depth to make it feel proportional and not feel like a flat space. That's basically why we do it, when we do it. In this case, the owner really has been building, he's been out looking at other houses, and he has a daughter who's been looking at other houses, and they walk through a lot of these newer houses which have 10-foot ceilings and 9-foot ceilings, and they just realized how nice it felt and how it would be ideal if they could do it. If the board is having a problem with it, we could talk about it and see if there's something we could do. We probably could, but if we can justify basically because of the hardship of the topography, which is an accepted hardship in the municipal land use law, it's about a 20% grade, I think, on that one section of the street. And I do have another exhibit that I can show for that. I have to just get into the website and look for it.
Just really quick.
Yeah.
I'm just going to advise that the consideration for hardship for steep slope be very narrowly banded in a C1 argument as it relates to the nature of the existing land. And typically that would be something you might address towards steep slope variances as opposed to a height variance to the home where you're inflicting that yourself to put the new foundation into those locations.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to want to use a C2 variance proof on the height rather than a C1 hardship to demonstrate your proofs on record.
Yeah, and I was going to say that before. I don't see a C1 reason here, honestly. I think the only shot you have is a C2, and I'm really hard pressed to understand, what's the public benefit to you exceeding the height.
I do have some C2 proofs in my letter that I attached to the application, and I'll go through that and see if that helps. Because I really think the streetscape will be improved with the slenderness and the proportion of the windows and the height. I think it'll look better than it does today. And I have a photo of the
Are there
existing
any
house.
other homes in the neighborhood that exceed the height?
I have, I did drive around and I didn't study, through topography, I didn't have a surveyor check that, But I did drive around and there are quite a few where the garages are in the basement. You come up the driveway and turn into their basement. And I have pictures of those in the other exhibit, which originally was attached, but it's been listed separately, I believe. So that alone tells you that the height on those houses, if you had to measure those, you would be measuring 20 feet from that basement slab where the apron of the garage was 20 feet away, and then 20 feet on the other side of the house, which is hilly. So I hazard a guess. I would say that their average grade is probably lower than ours is relative to the first floor. But I don't know, most of those houses probably do have 8-foot ceilings, so that their roof is like ours is, 8 foot, and then a typical roof.
Because one of the things that we're looking at, what we generally look at is the modification in relation to the neighborhood.
Right.
So we're all thinking this as you're talking, and obviously one of our concerns is the height overall. But there really aren't any homes with 10-foot first ceilings. I love a 10-foot first ceiling. But does it, maybe with the character, you're gonna have a higher house and a 10-foot first floor, 9-foot second floor, and are we opening this up to changing all the homes in the neighborhood? The character, part of the master plan is maintaining character. We approve a lot of changes all over the township all the time, and we have no problem doing that, but it's always in relation to what else is going on. So, we're listening to what you're having to say, but we do have a concern. I have a concern with the height in relation, the height of the home and the height of the floors in relation to the character of the existing neighborhood. And I think that it will be really obvious.
All right, well, I appreciate what you're saying, and it's definitely something that we don't take it for granted, and we are here to talk about it, and maybe we could lower.
Because we love improvements.
Yeah.
We love home improvements. We really do.
Just get rid of that room.
The owner's willing to drop the first floor ceiling height to 9 feet if that's more acceptable to the board. So that'll lower the whole thing a foot.
Right.
And, if that would be more acceptable, we could do that.
Okay, thank you.
So what does that get your height to then? Are you at 36?
On that dimension, we were at 37.5, so it would be 36.5.
You did also indicate that the basement was going to be raised a foot as well, the ceiling in the basement. Is that correct?
No, right now, what I was saying was the rear addition steps down. The new slab in that rear addition basement, it will step down from the existing basement, so it'll be taller. Just that back section.
Just that back space.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to take a second and try to log on to the, I don't normally use this computer, and I would have to just see if I have the Additional visual documentation. Right. Okay.
So we've agreed that the 38.4 is not an accurate,
38,
the 38.4 that's on the plan?
38.4 is, I think, the height as defined in our code, from the average grade to the top roof. I think the 37.5 is the architectural height, essentially.
Okay.
So ideally, if we could ask for the approval at 37.4, drop it down a foot, that it'll give us some leeway, because I'm not sure about that 37.5, but
Okay.
you know, so I'm going to try to share, new share. Let's see, Chrome tab. Additional. And there is another one that I don't see here, but okay. So I just wanted to show a couple of pictures of what the existing house looks like.
And just for the record, these are pictures that we have in our packet, correct?
Yes, they're on the website listing for the documents. So the existing house is here, pretty typical brick front with the clapboard, smaller windows. This is the rear basement, which was used just for a little exercise, but pretty much unfinished space. You can see the chimney area over there with the mechanical equipment. And the back of the house has the small room, basically just a deck enclosure on top of a deck, the two-car garage, and then the existing deck with that enclosure. You can actually see the decking still there. This just shows the overall texture of the neighborhood, and the house is pointed out here, and the slope goes down this way. So the high side is over here, the low side is over here. But some closer view, and this is just a location plan that was part of the checklist to show where in the township we're located. And then the tax map showing the house in the context of the other houses right around it. And the location on the zoning map to show the zoning, the partial zoning map. But there was another one that I don't know if it was posted. Maybe, let me see if I could find it. Variance plan agreement form. I don't think it got posted, and I don't think I have it with me. All it was I did a closer look at the topography of the whole neighborhood. Let me just go back to okay. Sorry, take a second to, okay. So basically it was a neighborhood topographic study, which just showed what I was explaining before about how this hillside continues way up in that direction and continues down in this direction. And that there's I think it's an existing topographic change of over 10 feet from one side of the site to the other, which drops the average grade plane down and forces everything else, all the other dimensions down with it. But just kind of an abstract thing, because from the street, you don't see that average grade like that. So that's why I felt that it was relevant. And I realized that there are other ways to justify variances, which I'll get into I guess I'm about ready to go into that part of it, and I'll just summarize the planning end of this. Unless there's anything you want to stop and talk about the architectural end of it before I do that. I could use a little water. You mind if I just want to get a little
We can
drink?
take five.
Take 5 minutes?
Take a 5-minute break.
5-minute break? It's a recall to order the March 23rd, 2026 Morris Township Board of Adjustment meeting.
Turn your volume down
Sorry.
on your computer.
The computer.
Okay.
Mr. Krupa, roll call?
Mr. Evangel?
Here.
Ms. Simmons?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Schuster?
Present.
Mr. Benoit?
Here.
Mr. Kramer?
Here.
And Mr. Goldberg?
Here. Okay.
Okay, so during the break, we talked a little bit about some things that'll be needed for the next hearing, but Joe, why don't you just, for the record, clarify a few things?
So some of the testimony we heard in discussion of the plans, there was various discrepancies on some of the heights architecturally, how it translated to the bulk standards, including the lot area from the survey that they trusted. That was clearly a typo. So it would be my recommendation, we clean those items up in revisions, in your submission, so that we can firm up those numbers specifically to the variances and specifically the height of the structure, so that supplemental architectural testimony can be provided to clean up the revised plan sets next time, and then we get into planning testimony on the revised only, as opposed to starting planning testimony on what we now know has certain discrepancies in it. So to take out the gray area from the planning testimony and keep the planning testimony preserved in the record after a revision. With that, I would also say we could hear the public after we go through our questions on the current testimony, so that we can summarize tonight with the conclusion on the testimony that's on record and take the balance of that architectural discussion here.
Sounds like a planned, logical approach. So for the purposes, we'll conclude the architectural piece tonight and then move on to the planning.
Yes, so
Then the
essentially
next-
an architectural supplement next time to clarify the revisions to the plan that clear up all these discrepancies. And then I would recommend to them that proposal in that revision go from architectural heights of an existing first floor elevation of the home. And then you can show the existing average grade elevation calculated and the proposed average grade elevation calculated because the footprint changes. And so the board and the public will understand the extent that number changes that works against the height calculation, and then understand the portion that is purely architectural to the elevation change in the height architecturally going up.
How much from the point in space, which is the top of the house now,
Exactly,
vertical distance to the proposed top?
exactly.
I
So,
mean, let's assume the datums are the same.
yes.
What is that vertical distance? I think everybody wants to know that.
So I think it'd be to the benefit of the record if that's all clearly revised and represented, so that we're not discussing it twice and we don't have anything misconstrued now in this testimony before the next testimony.
Correct. Mr. Gogan?
I agree with that, and I think it's the right approach.
Thank you. All right, any other comments as you conclude your architectural testimony or?
No, I think
Comments?
basically, going back to the site plan, I don't hear too much concern about the side yards. They are pretty much pre-existing, where that front bump out is of the garage is reducing that just half a foot, but it won't be that perceptible from the street. It's essentially, you've got plenty of space there because the neighbor's driveway is also on that same side. So it's quite a bit of space between the buildings. So I think the real issue here is the height, and we should just amend the application and nail down those numbers, correct the, get the surveyor to correct the lot area and recalculate all the coverages and make sure we're okay. And then, but for the, tonight, before we start any questions about the testimony tonight, right? You want to do that, get that finished?
Correct. We'd like to get the board questions.
I'll
and then
just
the
say
public.
that, we are agreeable to lowering the height on the first floor 1 foot. And we are probably also agreeable, because of the smaller rooms on the second floor, to going back to 8 feet on the second floor. So that's 2 feet less than what we came in with today.
Okay.
And if that's significant enough to overcome it, I think still there's some questions that need to be nailed down in terms of the numbers. So
All right.
But
Okay.
we could do that through signature set. So if you feel comfortable with that approach, you could approve it, and then we could just have the.
Okay, well, we're not gonna finish tonight
Okay.
regardless. So, so with that, if you're done, I'll turn it over to the board for any questions and board members. No questions? Okay, I'll now open the public portion of the meeting for questions of Mr. Gogan, just based on his architectural testimony here this evening. Again, there'll be time at the end for comments and just questions on the architecture.
Time at the end is probably next set.
Correct.
Just, Jason Churcha again, 31 Knollwood. Just a point of clarification on how this is going to work. Are the revised plans going to be made available like 10 days in advance? So
They
that,
have to be submitted at least 10 days prior to the next hearing date. I don't know what that date is yet. We'll figure it out before we leave.
and just to be clear, we're just asking questions now about the architecturals and not any of the planning components.
Yeah, we haven't gotten
Okay.
really to the planning components
Sure.
yet. He'll testify to
Gonna-
that
all
next
right.
time.
I'm only going to ask questions about the architectural then. I'm
Right.
going to reserve whatever.
And understanding that with respect to the architectural plan, it's going to change in terms of the height,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So can you clarify what the square footage of the proposed home is going to be?
Okay,
2615.
let me see if I have that handy here.
2615.
No, I think that's.
Well, I just, off the top of my head, I don't want to just throw a number out. I have the footage, I have, of course, the footprint, the proposed ground floor we have proposed is,
I'm just asking about the habitable square footage. What is the total habitable square footage of the home? The proposed home?
so the ground floor, including the garage, is 2615.
Right there.
And
That's one floor. That's two floor. Times two.
let me just see if I have the second floor handy here. On the cover sheet, I don't think it's here. But let me check the second floor plan and see if I have. Yeah, I'd have to calculate, but the second floor addition, 968, I think 916.8. I'm sorry, let me just make sure I'm reading it correctly. 916.8. And I just have to run the numbers, but all in all, the second floor is following the first floor walls all the way around except for the sunroom. So it's probably very close to that ground floor area, minus the sunroom area, which I believe I have on the cover sheet.
Are you including the habitable attic?
No, I didn't count that in yet, but, so that you'd, the habitable attic, I'll just go back up here a second. Sorry. Yeah, so we have the existing sunroom 275 and the addition of the sunroom is 398.8. But then there's a portion, I'd have to run the numbers, but essentially, let's just say it's roughly the same as the first floor minus, the second floor is the same as the first minus 275, 398, and that's it, 275 and 398. Do you have that?
So it's 4,600.
The first floor
Plus the attic.
times 2 minus 275 minus 398, yeah.
Plus the attic.
So that brings it to about 4,500 square feet.
Does that include the attic?
No, that's
Okay.
without the attic.
So how many square feet is the attic, the habitable attic?
I believe it's around 830.
So we're talking a number, it's safe to say the house, the proposed home is greater than 5,000 square feet of habitable space.
Yes, yes. Including the garage.
Including the garage, but does that include the basement?
No.
You have a kitchen in the basement though, but the basement's not habitable? Is that why you're not including the basement? Let me ask that again. You're not including the basement because it's not habitable, it's under the code, is that right?
No, I mean, it is habitable. It's not a sleeping area, but, I mean, theoretically, somebody could. We have a walkout now for egress, but, the only reason for the kitchen shown down there is it's more like a summer kitchen for baking. It's just for his hobby of, sourdough bread making, and, it's not a second kitchen like for an apartment or anything like that.
Well, it has an oven or double oven, right?
It has an oven and, a sink and refrigerator.
And some storage space as well?
Yes.
Does it have a stove?
You would call it a stove range.
Okay. Is there anything in the basement is there anything in the basement kitchen?
It's just a little too much
Too much
murmurs
murmurs
going on. Yeah.
Please,
Can't hear you.
Thank you.
Is there anything in the basement kitchen that is proposed for this house that is missing from what you would commonly refer to as a kitchen in any of our homes?
For all intents and purposes, it's going to have cabinets, counters, a range, refrigerator, and an oven. So it's similar to another kitchen. But I will note that doing work all throughout Morris Township over the years, there are quite a few homes where a second kitchen is not a problem, as long as the owner signs an affidavit saying that it's only for his family to use, like if they're visiting or you have a mother-daughter type of situation, or somebody is handicapped and has trouble using the stairs.
Okay.
So that's not that uncommon. We just did a new house where we.
So the owner's agreeing he's not going to rent out any space to
Right.
third parties?
There's no intention to rent. This is just for his own.
If this is approved, would the applicant have to come back to the board to put to put a bathroom in the habitable attic?
I don't think so. That's building department issue as far as I know, but right now there's no plan to put a bathroom up there.
Okay.
And by the way, there's no bathroom in the basement either.
Understood. You were talking about average grade. The average grade measures up to the left side of the house too, up the slope to the extent that that's within 20 feet of the house as well, right?
Yes, that's right.
And so the average grade of the house, I think in your application is 399.3 feet. Does that sound right?
Yes.
And so if you look at the topography of the on the survey, that line for 399 feet runs through the footprint of the house. Is that right?
It runs through the basement, if you will. It's.
Well, and my
several
question
feet-
was, it runs through the footprint of the house, correct?
Yeah, it's actually underground on the garage side.
Sure. And I was a little confused by your testimony. Is the slope of this property similar to the slopes found throughout the neighborhood?
In the immediate neighborhood, it's fairly consistent. That whole street goes down, and I don't know if it levels out a little bit. I think it does level out down toward the bottom of the hill. And he's fairly close to the top, so, it is a hilly part of town.
But it's fair to say that that's for the slopes of this property are characteristic of the neighborhood at large. Is that fair to say?
Yes, and maybe since we have to come back, I'll see if I can gather more precise information about the heights in the area of some of those houses.
Sure. You've driven through the neighborhood, I presume?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you say that the proposed height of the home is, let me ask it differently. Is the height of the existing home characteristic of the homes in the neighborhood?
It's characteristic of about at least half of them, but a good number of them have these basement garages. So I really think that this house presents from the street as lower than a lot of the other houses in the area.
Well, I live in one of those houses that has the basement garage. Do you think that the reason that those houses have basement garages is due to a steeper slope for those properties?
I think so, yes.
So, how many, roughly, if you know, how many homes in the neighborhood have habitable attics?
I really don't know. I have no way of knowing if someone has put like a habitable section. Most of the roofs are lower slope, like the ones that's existing. And I would say if they have a habitable attic, there's probably a very limited area that's.
I mean, you can investigate that from the exterior because a habitable attic has to have a window, doesn't it? And you'd see that from the exterior of the home.
It would have to have a window for light and ventilation, but not necessarily egress. So it could be a smaller window, but essentially just a window, yes.
So
Natural light.
you don't know, you can't say sitting here tonight whether a habitable attic is characteristic of the neighborhood or not then, is that right?
Yes, but I think you have to also distinguish between features of a building that are controlled by zoning and those that are not. Because any of those houses could put a habitable attic in without a variance. It's an allowed feature of a single-family house. As long as you respect the height, that you're not triggering any variances, I don't see any reason that a zoning permit couldn't be issued and a building permit.
Right, but as the homes exist today, again, you don't know if they have habitable attics or not.
I have not gone around and surveyed it.
Okay. Do you know what the square footage of the habitable square footage of the existing home is?
Well, I have the existing footprint shown here. I'd have to do the arithmetic again, and basically it would be without the master suite over the garage and without the back sunroom.
That's 22. I
don't know offhand.
Is it about 2,500 square feet? Is that fair?
Let me see if I have that, if I can give it to you. So the existing house is 1974. It's 2249 with the porch, with the rear addition.
And is that
sunroom?
So let's say 20. We can round it up. We can round it down to 2,200 square feet. We can round it however you want. Is the existing square footage consistent with the neighborhood?
It is consistent, I would say.
And earlier you testified that the proposed habitable square footage of the home exceeded 5,000 square feet. Is that larger than the homes in the neighborhood?
Well, first of all, you're comparing a first floor footprint, which is different.
Well, no,
from
my first question was what was the habitable square footage of the house? And we weren't sure, but we said it was safe to say it was greater than 5,000 square feet. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay. So my question now is the 5,000 square foot, let's call that the minimum, is the minimum size of 5,000 square feet greater than the general size of the homes in the neighborhood?
I'll just answer this way. If you take the 2250 roughly existing footprint of the house, which includes the garage, and you apply that to other houses around the neighborhood where their garage is in the basement and the second floor extends all the way over the garage, the entire footprint of the house is covered by the second floor. It's very possible that you're close to 5,000 on a lot of those houses.
Well, how big is this?
Please.
How big is the garage?
It's like maybe 24 by some 20.
So your testimony is that some houses have an additional 500 square feet that this house doesn't have because of the garage?
I mean, I'm obviously thinking out loud here from driving around where you do see houses that have the garage under the house, not next to the house, and that the entire first floor and second floor are aligned already. So I don't think it's that far a stretch that everyone has to, have a big joke about it. I mean, it just seems to me logical that if you have a house with a 2,250 square foot footprint and the garage is not next to the first floor, it's under it, and that you have 2 stories above, it's not that impossible to imagine. Maybe it's not 5,000, maybe it's 45.
Photo array.
Yeah, we're not going there. No, we're not doing that right now. That's for later.
I would like an opportunity to do that.
Absolutely, you will have that opportunity, but this is just questions of his testimony. We're already past
Well,
our
I'd like
twilight
to
time.
show why that testimony is wrong.
Well,
So I have
we
a
can do
photo
that
array
because
that will
when
do
we
that.
come back, he's going to give us new architectural plans. We're going to, we may do that first so that you can then question on
Sure.
the new architectural plan, right? We'll just really then conclude all the architectural testimony. We'll come back to you to continue with your questions. And then everyone else who has questions will have an opportunity. And then we'll go into the planning testimony. When all of that testimony is over and all the questions for that is over, then you and everyone else will have an opportunity to offer any kind of testimony that you might want to offer.
Okay. I would like to be able to do that at the next hearing, so I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
But I would like to come back to that when the next hearing comes.
Hopefully we will get to that at the next hearing.
All right, thank you.
And I'd like to just say something. You said that testimony is wrong. I think it should be clarified that I did say I don't know. I have not surveyed all of those conditions throughout the neighborhood. I'm just speculating based on the overall comparability of footprints in the neighborhood that it's not that much of a stretch, but I'm just speculating.
So the answer to my question then was a 5,000 square foot home consistent with the neighborhood. Your answer is you don't know.
I don't know 5,000, but I would say if it isn't 5,000, it's not that far.
Right.
It could be 45,
In the interim, right, when we come back again, there's a few things that they're going to present in addition to the revised plans. I'd suggest that you maybe see if you can get some heights on homes in the neighborhood. I think photographs of other homes that you're going to compare to would be helpful, not just this property, but other properties on the street. Maybe what the property line, is there a buffer between this, what you're going to be building on and the house to the right, which is the most impacted home? What's that property line look like? Are you going to offer a buffer if there isn't one? And you can verify what the square footage is for this property and average square footages in the homes in the neighborhood, which are, that information is easily accessible through assessor's cards, which you can Oprah. Right?
Yes,
So
I can do that analysis.
you can have all of that stuff. Right.
No problem.
And that really goes more to the planning
Sure.
anyway.
Fair enough. I don't have any other questions then, with the caveat that I would like to.
You will have that chance. Yes.
Thank you.
So what do we got for next date?
Should we, for the public, are we going to, we're going to?
Yeah, we're going to get to the public at the next
I'll be
meeting
brief.
again, as I just said.
I waited all night. I'll be brief.
I know,
Come on, you
but
can't shut
you're
us
gonna
down.
have to wait
And nobody in this
longer
room wants you to
next
shut us down. I'll be brief. It's
Yeah.
bullets.
Is it one question?
It's bullet, yes. Well, there's several questions, but they're quick and I won't go back and
No.
forth.
So what's the next date?
April 27th.
April 27th. Okay, so this meeting is being adjourned at this point.
Guys doing disservice here.
It's
forever and we
Come on.
What's the process?
It's going to take forever because that's just what happens. We may not even conclude the next hearing, right? So be prepared. It's not a one-night thing.
How about you hear the questions without answers so they can answer them next time?
You represent the townspeople that live here. You're welcome to contact the applicant and tell them what your thoughts are, and they can be ready to address those questions at the next hearing, right? This hearing's being concluded now. The next is going to continue on April 27th at 7 o'clock in this room. There'll be no further notices from the
No, it's
applicant.
not.
That's,
Yes, it is.
No,
It's
it's
a
not.
process, sir. For 54 years, it's been a process in that neighborhood. We're trying to preserve it.
They're asking to repeat the date.
April
27th, 7 PM. Any other business?
I know. I got everything written down.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's okay. No, you cannot.
10 days.
If they don't have, you have to have the plans in 10 days ahead of time.
Should I gavel them again and ask them to please clear the room? We still have other business to tend to in the meeting, so please,
That hearing's adjourned.
that hearing is adjourned. Thank you.
So you do have to get your plans in 10 days ahead of time, right? And if they don't, then it's going to be a different day. Yeah.
I'll carry it.
Right.
Do you want to?
Any other matters on the agenda, or Paul, you want to take your seat back? Okay. Are there any other matters for the board to discuss?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Have we confirmed that April 15th hearing
I
for the
believe
South
there-
Street
well,
property?
Yes, we have confirmed it. We have sufficient board members. The objectors are available, the applicant's available.
Thank you.
Any other board issues or questions? No? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.